going on, everyone? So I want to have a conversation about Luka Doncic, just like a general conversation, some thoughts that I have in my head, particularly about him potentially moving into that best player in the league conversation. I'll do like full breakdowns of expectations with him and the rest of the roster and players as we move closer to training camp and preseason. I just want to wait. I know a lot of people don't think the Lakers are going to make a trade or anything. Very well might not. But I just don't want to do like a bunch of deep dives into players and stuff, and then half of them get traded, and it's like, oh man. So get in that. But just in general, right? Because Luka is approaching the Eurobasket and stuff. We're going to get to see kind of the first looks. I'm going to be looking out for kind of just the way that he's moving and operating out there. Like the stats I don't really care about. We know he's going to put up insane stats. Care more about just like, how does he look, right? How is he moving, right? He's not going to be carrying around that extra weight. So is there even like a little adjustment, right? Because, you got to think, him carrying that weight, he's adapted to having that weight, being able to kind of bump guys and move guys and do all these various things. So I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out, kind of keep an eye on that. But in general, I believe, these are my thoughts, right? That's why I want to hear yours down in the comments, but I believe Luka Doncic, if he plays 65 games this year, is going to win MVP. I think the Lakers are going to be good enough to be in that conversation. I think the media and fans and whatnot, I think they're going to do everything they can to give it to him if it's warranted and justified. As long as the Lakers aren't like a play-in team or anything like that. If they're like a top 4 seed, maybe even the 5th seed, I think he gets it. Right? Because I think he's going to have some I think he's going to be minimum 28, 9-9 or something crazy like that. Wouldn't be surprised if he's in his 30s. Right? And I just think he's going to play like he's one of, if not the best player in the league again. And people are going to point and go like, hey, look, he's back. And he's going to be the media's darling. He's going to get the Laker bump, right? Because he's playing for the Lakers, right? And he was going to give him a couple of things. One, voter fatigue is a real thing. Right? If they can give it to Luka Doncic, who's new, over like a Nikola Jokic or a Giannis Antetokounmpo or something like that, they will. Right? They want, especially the league in general. The league was the whole thing that they keep talking about. They want disparity, right? Like they want, like SGA won. Okay, cool. Now Luka wins. Okay, now because they want it, like the conversation and whatnot to be various things, right? So I think if Luka and the Lakers are good enough, like within range, like as long as they're not a play-in team or something, I think that they will find every reason to give it to Luka Doncic. I think as long as he plays that 65 games, he will get it. Because, again, I just think voter fatigue is a real thing. I think the media and the Lakers bump is going to be a real thing. I think he will be good enough to warrant and justify it. Every year he's in the MVP conversation regardless. And now you add in the Laker thing. Also, you don't think that the media and everyone is going to want to give a Laker the MVP? Right? Like, seriously, think about it. You telling me that the league's not going to want, and the media and everybody wouldn't want that narrative and story? But more than anything, the reason I think he's probably going to get MVP is because the media and everyone will get to run away with that for the next year about how he goes to the Lakers in his first full year with the Lakers, he wins MVP. Oh, Dallas is an idiot. Like, it just, you already can see all the storylines and the narratives and, ESPN and FX1 and all them sitting up there going like, Luka, like all the Dallas Mavericks, right? Like you can already see and hear it, right? I can already visualize like the round tables and all that stuff talking about how, how foolish Dallas was that they traded away the MVP. He goes to the Lakers, he gets there, look at the body transformation, blah, blah, blah. I believe the NBA is going to do everything in their power to give him the MVP. He just has to play the 65 games, which I do think he will. So I think he'll win his first MVP this year. But winning the MVP doesn't necessarily mean you're the best player in the league, right? Like SGA won the MVP, the Finals MVP, the Magic Johnson Award, all of it, like completed the trifecta, wins the NBA championship, and you don't hear the narrative of like, oh, SGA is the best player in basketball. Jokic is still looked at as the best player in basketball. He almost beat SGA in OKC with like 4 healthy players, right? Like, so that alone was impressive. But you look at like him and you look at like Giannis, right? It's like, it's like Jokic, Giannis. It was Luka, but now, okay, if you want to say SGA, all right, fine, Luka, right? And then so on and so forth, right? Once you start getting in the top 5 or whatever, some people have, like Tatum and guys like that. Like, whatever it is. But the consensus thought a year ago, right, when Luka was in the NBA Finals stuff, was that he was a top 3 player in the league. Guy was unbelievable. Just because he's a Laker now doesn't change that, right? And now the question becomes, can he move into the best player in the league conversation? I think he can, right? I wouldn't be shocked if he moves into the best player in the league conversation this year. My question is, can he do that every year be in that conversation, right? He's one of the best players in the league, but like Jokic 3 years ago to now, right? 4 years ago, whatever, whenever the like, hey, this guy's clearly the best player in the league. So within the last 5 years, like the conversation hasn't changed. Every year it's like, dude, he's the best player in the league, right? Can Luka be that? Right? Like, because again, you could make an argument and justify that SGA is the best player in the league last year because of X, Y, and Z. But really, is anyone taking him over Nikola Jokic? No, right? So, can Luka be the guy that overtakes it? I think Luka will look good enough. I think Luka will look the part. I think he'll be the part. I think he'll be on the Lakers. So the media and everybody's going to hype him up. I think he's going to get more attention. He's going to get more notoriety. I think he's going to get more praise. I think everything's going to be amplified. Like everything we heard, saw, and had conversations about in Dallas are all going to be 10x, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that he really is, right? But if he comes in, goes and wins the MVP this year, leads the Lakers to an NBA championship, and then they win an NBA championship, he wins Finals MVP with LeBron James on his team, he already was a top 3 player in the league. Like, I think that, again, it depends on how he looks and how he's playing, but I genuinely think that there is a real path to him being the best player in all of basketball, especially for a team that everybody right now is all saying the Lakers are, a play-in team at best. ESPN's talking about how the Lakers are the 7th seed and 10th best team in all of basketball and blah, blah, blah. Like you're hearing all this conversation, all these narratives, all this talk about, but I've said this before, and I still think that I give it like 20 games before everyone starts talking about how the Lakers are a super team. Like genuinely, I think we'll be like 20, and that's me being like generous. I think it'll be a lot shorter than that. I think all of a sudden Luka's going to get out there. He's going to be torching up the league. Everyone's going to be crying about how like, oh my God, the NBA gave Luka the Lakers. And then DeAndre Ayton's going to be killing. Everyone's like, oh, the NBA rigged it for DeAndre. When right now everyone's like, DeAndre Ayton's washed. He's trash. Portland wanted to pay him to get rid of him. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can already hear all the narrative. LeBron's washed. Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden it'll be like, well, what do you expect? This team has Ayton and LeBron and Marcus Smart and Luka Doncic. And like, I 20 games in most. I think we hear that narrative. Again, I could be wrong. It's just kind of my thoughts. But I think Luka, in general, I think he's going to be the best version of himself. Like, genuinely, like that's my whole thing. Like, Luka already is looked at as a top 3 player in all of basketball, right? And if he's a better version than we have seen, and it's not so much about the stats and stuff like that, because again, even Jokic has had better stat years and whatnot than his MVP years and stuff like that, right? Like if Indiana wins the NBA championship last year, this past NBA Finals, like are people like Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton are the best players in all of basketball? No, right? Like so again, there's variables, there's circumstance, there's things that go in, little nuance that goes into it, but Luka already, again, is looked at as a top 3 player in all of basketball, a guy that could carry a team on his back. If he goes and does it, and he is the best version we have ever seen of Luka Doncic, again, it's not a stat thing. It's just the way he's playing and operating out there and controlling and dictating games, doing all the things. I mean, think about LeBron. Like, LeBron had better stat years than some of his, like, best seasons, but it's just how impactful he was. He would completely win games by himself. Like, if you see that Luka out there, and that Luka's out there just tearing up the league, I genuinely do think that there will be real, like, Luka's clearly the best player in the league now conversations, especially being on the Lakers, like, so many people want to talk about the face of the league. It's Luka. I mean, he's got the attitude, he's got the swagger, he's got the transformation, he's got the backstory, right? He's on the Lakers. You want to talk about, like, who's the face of the league post LeBron and Steph and KD and all that stuff? It's probably Luka. I mean, and the thing is, he's good enough. He's on the right team. He's like, it's just, I really do. But anyway, like I said, it's just kind of my random thoughts that I wanted to talk about and have a conversation on. But as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Else for that, I enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.